Hi, I'm Espen Kraft, and this is the holy grail of multi-effects units. This is the Eventide H3000. It's heard on thousands of records, and every hit single from the late 80s and 90s has the sound of these units on them. Today I'm checking out if the Eventide plugin of this hardware unit has the same sound and the same mojo as the classic itself. I'm going to go through 4 of the classic programs in the hardware unit and see if the plugin has what it takes to really replace the hardware unit in a production. Does the plugin sound exactly the same? Well, we'll find out. Okay, so the first is the classic program 521 micro pitch slap, and we're going to use it on my verse and chorus vocal tracks on this song I'm working on. So that was bone dry, and I have to do some cleaning up at the end there. But we'll do some pitch shift with a short slapback delay on that verse. And to do that, we use the classic H3000 program 521 micro pitch slap, but we're going to use the plugin. And that's the legacy program, micro pitch slap, and it should sound exactly like the hardware in theory. We pitch down the left and right channel 9% and minus 9% with a slapback of 51%. And this is basically how you fatten up a vocal. You pitch some of the vocal down, some of the vocal up, and you add a little slapback delay. And you can do it all from this preset, and that's how it was done back in the day on the hardware unit. So let's hear how the plugin does on this. Very exaggerated, of course, but we're going to turn down the effect later. Let's hear it full on. With a mix of 100%.
I don't know why the nightfall seems to cover me, but
So you can see you have the delays, pitch shifted, a very short slap delay. So let's turn that down to get a more
I don't know why
reasonable effect.
the nightfall seems to cover me, but I don't know why. I don't know why the nightfall seems to cover me, but I don't know why. But one thing I do know, when I'm gone,
So that's the plugin set down to a reasonable level.
I don't know why.
So you can barely hear the slapback.
I don't know why.
That's full on, and let's have it full on to compare with the hardware unit, which I'm going to turn on now. And as you can see, program 521 micro pitch slap mix 100% wet. So let's hear that.
I don't know why the nightfall seems to cover me, but I don't know why. But one thing I do know.
So what do you think? Is there a difference between the plugin and the hardware? Well, you decide. Let's turn both down to a reasonable level, so we'll have the effect as planned.
I don't know why the nightfall seems to cover me, but I don't know why. But one thing I do know, when I don't know why the nightfall seems to cover me, but I don't know why. But one thing I do know, when I'm gone.
I don't think the difference is very big. Maybe the hardware unit has a little more depth to it.
I don't know why the nightfall seems to cover me, but I don't know why. But one thing I do know, when I'm gone.
So let's leave the plugin of the 521 program on the verse and chorus parts. And on the chorus I want to do some automatic double tracking type effect. And for that I'm going to use another well-known classic preset of the H3000, namely the Dual 910S.
I do know, when I'm gone, you'll be here. When I go out, I'll be near.
So we have the slapback on there, but now we want to add the 217 program Dual H910Ss, which refers to the original Eventide H910S harmonizer. So we're going to do it again. We're going to pitch shift down and up in a little increment, no delay and feedback on that, to get that thick ADT type vocal.
When I'm gone, you'll be here. When I go out, I'll be near. When I'm gone, lying cold, you're the one that's growing old. When I'm gone, you'll be here. Though I go, I will be near.
So that was the plugin. Now let's listen to the hardware. And we've set it up the same as we did on the other program.
I do know, when I'm gone, you'll be here. When I go out, I'll be near. When I'm gone, lying cold, you're the one that's growing old. When I'm gone, you'll be here. Though I go, I will be near.
A very classy double tracking type effects. Let's solo that and let's compare.
I do know, when I'm gone, you'll be here. When I go out, I'll be near. When I'm gone, lying cold, you're the one that's growing old. When I'm gone, you'll be here. Though I go, I will be near. Lie here tonight.
Again, the hardware seemed to have a little more depth and creaminess to the sound. What do you think? If you agree or disagree, please let me know in the comments.
I do know, when I'm gone, you'll be here. When I go out, I'll be near. When I'm gone, lying cold, you're the one that's growing old. When I'm gone, you'll be here. Though I go, I will be near. Lie here tonight.
So again, I think the hardware has a little more depth to its sound, a little smoother perhaps. But let's move on. Let's go over to program 162, the Cool Press. And we're going to use that to achieve some glass type shimmer on my acoustic steel guitar. So we have some reverb on this already, but we're going to have to add some chorusing glass type presence shine to this guitar. And we pull out the 162 Cool Press preset, and let's take a look at the different modules set up to achieve this sound. This is a classic preset, so I didn't make this preset, but I'm going to show you at the end of this video how you can create a preset from scratch. We're going to go through all these modules and see how they hook up to each other. It's not as complicated as it might seem. I'll show you that later. But let's get on with the sound. Let's hear it. A slight delay and chorusing. So that was the plugin, and let's have a listen to the hardware this time. Let's add some more guitars. So this is all sampled acoustic guitars played from Contact on my keyboard, and this lullaby is written by a very good friend of mine, and I'll link to the finished track in the description to the video. It's a very nice lullaby with vocals and everything. It's been released, so check it out. Moving on to program 535, analog delays. And let's have a little listen to the part we're going to add delays to, that PPG piano part. And it sounds something like this. It's a left and right type sound, which moves from the left to the right channel and back again. And we're going to add some 535 analog delays onto that part, and with a little two-note delay going to sort of smoothen out the transition between left and right. That's the idea behind the delay I want to use on this type of track, and we'll compare it to the hardware in a minute. As you can see on the building blocks, there's some filter and delay rolled into the mixer. So that's the plugin, and let's power up the hardware unit again with the program 535, and I've set the cutoff to 2 kHz as it is on the plugin. So let's have a listen to the hardware unit. And let's solo that part so we can hear it clearly when we compare. That is the hardware. And the plugin. The delay on the plugin is not time synchronized to the tempo, so that's why it's slightly off on the actual delays. I actually think the plugin with its synced delays sounds slightly robotic because of that. I prefer the slightly off timing of the delays of the hardware units. So that's not to fault the plugin in this case. I could have set up both synced to the tempo of the track, which I didn't. And we're going to use some 217 dual 910 S's on this track as well, because we have a solo part. And we're going to put some chorus on that. So let's turn on the plugin on that and have a listen to how we've achieved the chorus result on the solo part. And let's enable the hardware unit again for the last time. And let's have a listen to the plugin again. I generally find the plugin wanting more than the hardware unit. If I can put it like that. But it's very subtle and they're very close, in my view. I'm starting to wonder if I've set the plugin effect a little too high compared to the hardware on this, but it's pretty close. So let's take a look at how we can set up a patch from scratch, and we're going to do a filtered delay, which I'm going to use on this solo guitar track. And that was bone dry, but we're going to do a factory H3000 preset out of this, and to start off from scratch we choose the default preset from the list of presets. And that leaves us with nothing but the left and right input patched to the left and right output. And let's detach that and see how this works. So we have patch modules, and inside the patch modules you have parameters you can change. And I like to have them set up as filter, pitch shift and delay in that order. It makes patching easier. And just think of this as a module synthesizer and virtual patch cables, and you'll be alright. It's the same principle, and it's a well-known design. So let's start by taking the left input and going into the filter module, and out of the filter module into the delay module. And let's do both delay modules so we can delay this in stereo. Let's choose low pass, which is the default setting, and set the frequency to something nice. We can always change this later, so I'm gonna set it to around 1 kilohertz, or maybe a little lower, around 800 maybe. You can also set the cue point, and if you set it real high, it'll spike nice and sweet in the delays, but I'll settle for something around 6. And when you drag the X's, you set the note delay, and the third grid is 8th note, and the fourth grid is dotted 8th notes. And let's take the outputs of the delays into left and right out. You could hear the delay clearly, but the feedback wasn't too high, so I'm going to set the feedback up on both delays. That's much nicer. Unfortunately, I forgot to set the session tempo, so the delays aren't exactly timed to the tempo of 114, but that'll do for now. If you remember to push the session tempo button, you'll get the delays in sync with the tempo. One thing we must do, or can do, and we will do it, is to modulate the filter input from an LFO module. So we just patch out of that into the filter mod in, and in the LFO section you can set a sine wave, which is the default. That's pretty nice. You can set the frequency of the sine wave and set the threshold level way higher than -40, so we can get some nice modulation of the filter. Let's hear that back. But the Eventide is known for its famous chorus pitch shifting effects, and we have nothing of that here, so we're gonna expand our preset and add some chorusing pitch shifting effects. So we unplug the outputs of the delays, and we don't run the filter directly into delays anymore, so we detach the patch cables for that. And now instead we're going to take the out of the filters into the pitch shifters. So filter 1 goes into pitch shifter 1, and it also goes into pitch shifter 2, because this is a mono signal coming in, the guitar solo. And we take another LFO, LFO2, and out of that we run a cable into the modulator of the pitch shifter 1. So the LFO2 will modulate the pitch shift number 1. And in the parameter setting of pitch shifter number 1, we will going to set the shift mod amount to around 15. And we're also going to set the shift delay setting. And we're going to shift the delay to around an 8th note, but we're going to offset it slightly to get a little separation between the pitch and delay signals. So you can see I'm offsetting it a little bit. The next thing we're going to do is use one of the modules called Scale. And Scale is a module you can use to offset modulation signals. So I take another out of the LFO2 and run it into the Scale 1. And in the parameters, I'm setting the amount to minus 100. So that'll offset it slightly. And now the cool thing is, we're now going to take the out of the Scale 1, which we've offset with an amount of minus 100%, and run that into the modulation input of the pitch shifter number 2. And on the pitch shifter number 2, we're going to set the shift mod amount, not to 15 this time, but to minus 15, and we're going to set to a dotted 8th note on the shift delay. So that's the pitch shifter setup. And now it's just a matter of patching up the last details. So we're going out of the pitch shifter and not into the delays, as you might think, but we're going into two separate mixers for the pitch shifter 1 and 2. And we're doing this to thicken up the sounds we're creating, the delays and the pitch shifter delays, to achieve chorusing, a better chorusing. So we're going out of the filter 1 into the delay 1, as we did the first time. And do the same on the delay 2. And we're going out of the delays into the other input of the mixer 1 and mixer 2. And that way we achieve the rich chorusing that the Eventides are so famous for. So we're going out of the delays and into the other input of the mixer modules. And now we just hook up the output of the mixers to the separate left and right, and we can reap the benefits. So let's have a listen. And now we can play with the filter cutoff. To achieve that sweep filter delay sound, and we can set the cutoff where we think it sounds the best. And there's one more thing we can do to make this easier later when we're going to use this as a preset, and that is to set up a soft key for the filter cutoff. And you can have 4 soft keys on the Eventide H3000, and you find it under the tab function, and you can set up the filter cutoff frequency, put it on soft key number 1, which you can label, not with so many letters that I'm using, but filter C will suffice. And now you can just play with that to alter the filter. As you can see in red over to the right, the frequency, it's now connected to that soft key. And that's how the cookie crumbles, and all that's left now is to save that we've done into a preset, because we don't want to call this default, but pressing save we can name it properly, and the delay filter sweep. And now we have it. Well, I hope you found this interesting. I find the plugin sound almost exactly as the hardware unit, and I look forward to using the plugin in my productions. But the hardware unit has some classic algorithms like the reverbs and things like that the plugin does not have. So in my world, I need both. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Ciao.